I'm going to review a knife I've had for over 10 years now, as well as display some modifications I've made to it. And I'll also show some of the many ways I've carried it over the years. This is my Ruko Muela boot knife. As far as I know, Ruko and Muela are two different companies. You can probably see on camera here, there's Ruko marking on one side, and it's very faint, but there's still a Muela marking on the other. As far as I know, they're two different companies. I'm not sure if one contracted the other to make the knife, or if one licensed the other company to use their brand. They might both be under the umbrella of a larger company, I don't know, but both companies make great knives. This one's marked made in Spain, and Spain's a country known for great steel. My reason for purchasing this specific knife was because at the time, about 10 years ago, I was working at a concrete batch plant, and to keep the concrete at a desired temperature during the summer months, we would have to add ice to the mixer trucks. I was one of the people responsible for doing that, and I was working on the ice dock. I found myself in need of a good knife that I could use to not only cut open the bags of ice, but also bust up the ice like an ice pick when it freezes into a larger block, in order to get it down the ice chute without clogging it up. For that, I needed something sharp, full tang for durability, and stainless steel as opposed to high carbon so it wouldn't rust. When I saw this knife, it seemed to check all those boxes. I have to say it did its job beautifully. It didn't rust. The hilt stops my hand from slipping forward and getting cut by the blade when I'm stabbing at the ice blocks. It's funny how I can buy a knife simply to avoid beating up one of my K-bars, and even though I didn't think much of it at the time, it quickly earns my respect by how well it does its job. There may be a life lesson in there. As far as my review goes, I'd give it top marks, 10 out of 10. This is now one of my all-time favorite knives. I carry it all the time. I've been carrying it for about 10 years now. I once said that if I lost this knife, I would go buy another, and that's just what happened. I thought I lost it, couldn't find it anywhere, so I purchased another one online. However, I did finally find this one wedged behind a dresser, so the new one is in a storage locker in case I end up losing this one again. So here are the modifications I made to it. Originally, the spine was completely straight. I took a die grinder and a cutoff wheel and cut the teeth into it. My only real reason for doing that modification was because, quite frankly, this knife wasn't that important to me at the time, and I thought it would look cool. However, these teeth do actually function quite nicely for carving notches. Another modification I've made was to carve a groove into the aluminum hilt here. I don't know how well that shows on camera, but that allows it to function nicely as a water bottle opener. I used to drink a lot of Newcastle, a lot of Mexican Cokes, and if you just unfortunately I can't have that stuff anymore, so I don't have a bottle here to demonstrate, but if you would wedge that underneath that groove underneath the cap and just simply pull up, that'd make a great bottle opener. The sheath originally came with this plastic clip, but I wasn't really impressed with it. However, I did realize it was easily removed, and that opened up a lot of different possibilities as far as carry options go. One thing I would often do is place the clip back in upside down, and that would allow me to hang it upside down off of gear strap, such as this Alice harness here. And I would usually use a piece of bicycle inner tube to keep that on there pretty secure. Here, I'll pull that knife off. But if you simply slide that up the strap, I'd often really just carry it right about there. And use that piece of inner tube. Right there. That will keep that on there nice and secure. And kept the knife easily accessible. Pull that back off. Don't mind that. Okay. 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 Another method I would often use to carry this knife, I'll just go ahead and pull this clip back out again. Is I would slip a piece of paracord where that clip was. Let me see if I can adjust this on the fly here. Okay, I don't know if you can see too well what I'm doing here, but yeah, I'd put a piece of paracord through the sheath there. Normally I'd be using a much smaller piece of paracord. I just happen to have this one close by. I tie a simple fisherman's knot. Normally I'd have this a lot tighter, but that gives me a spot to slide over my belt. Here, let me go ahead and do this here. And I'd wear that in the small of my back. So that would usually be in the small of my back, and once again I would usually have a couple of pieces of inner tube to keep it nice and secure. Grab another one here. So yeah, like I said, I would carry that in the small of my back. It would be easily accessible, but out of the way. I'd just be able to reach back, hit the snap with my thumb. Alrighty. Now, alright, and the last method I wanted to demonstrate. Let's see. Alright, let me just go ahead and undo all this. Alright, like I said, the last method I want to demonstrate is how I used to attach it to my boot. I made some custom webbing for this sheath out of some nylon straps, some Velcro, and some of these rectangular metal rings. And to attach that to my boot, I would take this top strap here, and let's see, make sure I want to put that on correctly. And I would slip this piece through. Pull that out the bottom there. And take this other piece, and that would attach to that one with just a little bit of Velcro. Now, really appreciate the one-legged man who made this video possible. Alrighty. Let me see if I can adjust this tripod on the fly here. So, I just simply wrap those nylon straps around my boot, and it would just secure in place with a piece of Velcro. Apologize if I'm not on camera that well here. I'll demonstrate it a little better in just a moment. Let's see here. Okay, and that would allow me to attach that knife quite nicely to my boot. All right, let's see if that shows on camera a little bit better. Now, I don't usually carry it that way too often, because one thing I did realize, if you're walking along and something knocks this handle, it kind of moves out of place pretty easily. It's not a big deal, but it's still nice to carry it that way sometimes. The lighting ain't too good here for these demonstration purposes, but finish showing that off. If you're in the market for a stainless steel boot knife, I recommend this one. They make it in a Tonto version as well. Appreciate your view.